Hello. Welcome to the Reloading Podcast. Here on the Firearms Radio Network. My name is Frank Ornstein. Some people are going, what? And some people are going, damn, that was a good movie. And if you are one of those people going, what? You need to fix yourself. So, right? Right.
Yep.
So. Oh, is that the question, Paul?
What question? What? Yeah, that is the question. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool. That way I don't have to go and hunt for it. I was just going to take what you posted in the chat, in our Facebook chat.
No, I thought I'd put it up and we'd have it. So.
Awesome. So. It'll be in the show notes, so. But I'm not going to put the whole back and forth in there. I'm just going to put the question.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll be in our show notes. So. But we'll get there, just not right now. What's everybody been up to?
Getting ready to move. How's that? Again, yes.
So does this mean the place in Indiana is going away?
No.
Oh, you're just talking about your daughter's moving. Okay.
My daughter's moving, yes. Tomorrow. Yep.
Oh, that quick.
Yeah. So Indiana is still there. Okay, I got to stay here until
I know you got to
do the ablation and then go from there. And Ray, I'm right now at 116.
Damn, that's good.
So
you had to say 3 tacos. That's why mine's a little high.
Yeah. They've readjusting some of my meds now, so that Monjourno works.
I'm on that. It does work.
Yeah. How high are you now?
What do you mean?
Yeah, your dosage. You on 10 or
1.5.
Oh, you just started. Okay.
It just started, yeah. But it's working great. That's of all the medications I've taken, that one's done the most.
Wait till you get up into the 7.5s to 10s, and then you're gonna sit down and I'm down to 2 metformin a day.
Really?
And only about I'm at 7 on my my pen injections. So, and I've also lost almost 50 pounds.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Good to hear.
Oh, there he is.
Did you did we wake you up from your nap, Jim?
Believe it or not, I was in Fayetteville. Down there where I met Nick said.
What were you doing in Fayetteville?
Waiting for her to spend money. Fuck y'all. Evening, Ray. Evening, Nick. Paul.
Hey, Jim.
How we all doing?
Evening, Mike.
Oh, that was awesome.
Yep. So I heard Shrenda may stop in. We'll see.
That was the rumor.
Yep.
So
as far as reloading goes, I have not done anything, but I will soon. So that being able to set up again will be nice. I got a lot of 6 GT and 22 GT to load for.
Yeah. I got to get some 30-30 done and some 30-06 accelerators. So
30-30, good powder for that. 30-31, IMR 30-31, if you can find something close to it.
I only have like 5 pounds of it.
That's enough.
Yeah.
So 4 IMR 4064 works halfway decent too. So, but anyway, I hadn't decided. I had a few different ideas I was going to try, but
30-06 accelerators with 55 grain bullets. Okay.
When we were talking last year about E.B. Brown still making the sabots for that, one of the guys from one of the regulars from the Discord chat sent them to me. I want to say it was Nagy that sent them to me. So I gotta figure out. I gotta figure out what the hell happened to my Lee press in moving my dresser out here, my bench out here, and get that put up and get some loading done with that at least. So
30-30, the accelerators would work nice in too.
I know they would. That'd be freaking awesome on a whitetail.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The only question is how far are they going to stabilize?
I still like the guy's idea. A couple years ago, we had him on the show where he did 300 rum and accelerators. Ooh,
yeah, that was
5K.
That was originally it was a listener of ours from Texas, and then the person we actually had on the show was Matt from Geeks, Gadgets, and Guns. He and Heinrich went out to the range and were throwing all sorts of things down that barrel. So that video is still up on their LFD research page on YouTube. So
you ought to be.
Is everybody else?
Go ahead, Jim.
Go ahead, Paul.
No, go ahead, Jim.
Has everyone else already gone?
Nope.
No.
Okay.
But you go ahead and go. We don't want you to forget.
Well,
we know how that memory is.
Yeah, right. Anyway, the only thing I did this week was 2 or 3 days of sorting wheel weights. And last Saturday, I went to the gun club and worked 4 hours out there for a gun club work day.
Nice.
Nice.
Hey, gun clubs are the heart and soul of key to the Second Amendment. That's all I can say. Politics are always local, always begin locally.
Mm-hmm.
So all I did last week was help the wife with our garage sale and got rid of a bunch of stuff that we don't want to move. So starting to thin the herd.
And he still hasn't sold the Camaro yet. It's still for sale, right?
No, it's not for sale. Oh, well, I guess the right price, everything's for sale.
$2? $2.
Nick says he
$2
might be able to drive it now.
Anymore.
Nick says he might actually be able to drive it now.
Yeah, be close enough.
He thinks.
We'll have to play.
We get the seat to go back farther?
You got brackets for him.
You got brackets for him. Okay.
Yeah, but Ray, why would you want to move the seat back? You don't need it back farther.
No. He's got to learn to drive the stick.
Yeah. I know. That's what I told him. I said, you just got to figure it out. I said, so what you're saying is your leg strength isn't enough.
Yeah, he could do it.
I learned how to drive on a 69 F100.
I got a 19-year-old that I'll send out there to teach you.
Ooh. Ooh. Shots fired. Shots fired.
He just never. We did it one time, and then he would never do it again. He just doesn't want me blowing.
Because he doesn't want you to string his
I got whiplash.
Yeah, my granddaughter knows how to drive a stick now, so not a problem. I'll have her come down and teach you.
He's got to feather it in first gear and reverse, Nick. So I think you got to worry about. Other than that, you can.
Yeah, keep the RPMs under 7,000.
Yeah.
But valve float is cool. Come on. You got to admit there is something cool about valve float in a Chevy small block.
So what'd you do, Nick? Anything?
I went to a gun show on Saturday with a buddy.
I'm shocked.
Hey, it's the last one for over a month and a half, so first time in all year won't have one for a month. And then him and I went to the gun range, took the PU Mosin out, stretched it, was hitting a 12-inch steel plate at 300, no problem.
Nice.
And then took a Carcano out. Well, my new Carcano's out. So,
well, did they let you join that range?
Oh yeah, I've been in there over a month now. So,
oh yeah, okay. They lowered their standards then. Okay.
Yeah.
Took me out there once.
Yeah, we went out 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago. It is a nice range. I have to admit that.
All I know is I'll be checking the brass buckets.
Jim, nobody needs to see my face that big, so we'll just leave it like this.
2 weeks ago we were out there, Dad. 2-3 weeks ago, and we're out there shooting that new SKS I bought, and we're sitting at the 100-yard line, and we look down in front of us, and we see this brass. I'm like, that looks like 357 or 38 special brass. I'm like, you can't shoot a pistol on the 100. The only thing I could think of was like one of the Henry lever guns. But I'm like, still, that's 100 yards is not the easiest shot. It's like, we'll go check. Get done shooting. We go up. It's 30 carbine brass. There was at least 50 pieces of 30 carbine brass on the ground. We're like,
yeah,
thank you very much. So that found probably another 30 pieces of 308 brass. Probably another 10 or so loaded or live 303 Brit rounds that we end up pulling. So, but just finding it there at the range, I'm like, I'm not going to complain.
Some people don't know what they're throwing away.
Yep. Well, especially 30 carbine.
Yeah. Exactly. That's not
because there's nothing with that that's cheap.
No.
Yeah.
But
used to be cheap. It used to be cheap.
Right after Korea.
Yeah.
Well, even when I started at the gun shop, working at the gun counter, I could still get a box of 50. I think I paid $14 for the box of 50, which isn't terrible. I think it was still relatively affordable. But then, of course, COVID absolutely ruined everything. Price.
So that was what, a Gila?
Yeah, that was a Gila we got.
I'm trying to remember. What was it? In the mid 80s, we were paying $4 for a box of 50 Winchester full metal jacket.
I found an article the other day somebody had posted from like one of the Shotgun News or something from 2006. A box of 8mm Mauser, a 480 round spam can, was $106. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, can I please go back? I would have stocked up like crazy.
Well, there were people that were converting Browning 19s to 8mm Mauser just because of the cost of the rounds.
The other one is 762 by 54R. They converted it to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because you used to be able to get a spam can of that. Actually, so I remember when you could walk into Dunham's and you could get a moist nugget and a spam can for like $115.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I mean, shotgun news back in the 70s and 80s, you could buy surplus everything for next to nothing. 30 sick in ammo cans, or were already in the end block clips, $35 for 500.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago, Nick. You and I watched that YouTube video where that guy had some old shotgun news, and he was going through the pages of what stuff cost. And man, you only had a time machine.
Yeah.
If I had a time machine, I'd be going back and I'd pull like what Nicolas Cage did as a, what is that, Lord of War or Lord of, can remember, he's the arms dealer, and I would have the same thing. I would have gone over to Ethiopia or some of these other places and got all these stashes and just buried them in a barn out in the middle of nowhere and found them nowadays and make a killing.
I saw a post where somebody had posted they showed a can of gunpowder that they had up there for like $7 or $8, and 1,000 piece primers for $8. Okay, so yeah.
By comparison, today, I just happened to get an email from Powder Valley. They're selling MagTech primers, $50 for 1,000 primers. Down
That's
to
a good
nickel
deal.
piece.
That's actually
That's
Yes,
a good
sir.
deal. Yeah,
Yes, sir.
that's a good deal.
And today's market, I'm just talking about like by comparison. Back in the days, dude, back in the 70s, we used to be able to buy primers $5 for a brick.
Mm-hmm.
Brick of 1,000.
How much for 1,000?
$5.
$5.
Yeah. Some places were less than that. Between $3 and $4 1,000.
But you said Powder Valley's offering it now for what?
MagTech for $50.
That's a good deal. Real good.
Yeah.
If I was 30 minutes closer, I'd drive down to Powder Valley and pick some up.
Well, they just got over their free hazmat, so I mean, you could have bought the primers and the hazmat.
I'm only I think 2.5 hours from them.
Close enough for me, Nick. You gotta run down there.
I'm in like the perfect spot. 2.5 hours to Powder Valley, 2.5 hour to 3 hours to Mexico, Missouri. Sedalia is probably another 2 hours at most. It's like I'm in a perfect little honey hole right here.
For the savings, it's worth the drive.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
Especially for you and I, Dad, when you move over here, we can go hit Mexico, Missouri. Especially if you need to stock up on powder, like lead. Midway is one of the places I buy a lot of my lead from because they have the different like 20-1, 10-1 pure lead for some of the better prices. It's worth going over and just picking it up at the warehouse for that. Because I can't tell how many times I've ordered lead and it's getting destroyed in the mail.
So, which one is that? That's Graff and Sons.
Yeah, well, I've bought lead from Graff's as well in Mexico and from Midway.
Okay.
Graff's doesn't have as much lead as they used to. They've kind of gotten out of that, but Midway still stocks a lot of that national metallic lead.
Right.
Pretty good. Still, roto metals and zip metals are still your best price on the market, but I think Zips in Minnesota. If I'm not mistaken, I don't remember where Roto Metals is located at.
Shipping for that though is astronomical, right?
It is, and that's why, yeah, because they don't charge you a hazmat, they charge you like a specialty fee or something like that for lead. It's weird, and of course your standard shipping fee. But I don't remember what they'd call it for lead shipping. Like I ordered back when I was living in Illinois some 20-to-1. I shipped to my dad's house because, of course, with me working, I didn't want it to get stolen off my porch, and so it goes to their postmaster, and we fortunately knew our postmaster at the time real well. He gives me a call. He's like, "Hey, yeah, we noticed that your package got destroyed when it was going out. We found this what looks like bar of what did he say? That aluminum or zinc or nickel or something. He thought I had a super expensive bar or something. They found on the loading dock out of the back of the post office. So they put it in their safe, want to make sure nothing would happen to. Like, no, it's just lead. It's nothing crazy expensive.
There you go.
Tommy boy, where is this, and where are you at? What range is this?
Oh, I've done enough smelting in my day. I'm about done.
No, the reclaimed
Lead
lead
shot.
shot.
They
you can
reclaimed
load
it
as it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've already reclaimed it. I'm so used to
Morrison,
jackets.
Illinois.
Oh shoot!
Road trip.
Morrison, that's
I'm trying to think where that is. I've heard the name.
Morrison is near Quincy.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
No, Whiteside County. I don't know where Whiteside is.
Lead shot's got a lot of antimony in it, though, don't it?
Some lead shot.
Oh no, it's up by Sterling.
Sterling?
It's up off 88. Yeah, it's off 88. Up near Clinton, Iowa.
Yeah.
Zip is in Ohio.
Really, Zip Metals is in Ohio, huh? Didn't know that.
Magnum shot has a lot of antimony in it.
Yeah.
The standard shot is just soft lead, and it depends upon the user. If they're loading, soft lead or high antimony hard shot.
Yeah,
or
still
Magnum, they call it. Yeah.
29,000 pounds. Hell, smelt it down and make adjustments from your.
No, don't bother with smelting it. Just run with it.
Yeah.
I've loaded. I got 100 pounds of reclaimed shot through Acme back when they were doing that, and loaded it up as it was, and away I went. It was fine. No problems.
I cannot believe the price of a hardness tester right now. The Lee hardness tester, it is $85 for the die.
Well, you know whose fault that is?
Us, the reloaders.
No, loads of bacon.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because he designed that holder for it to make it easier than snot to use.
Yeah. It's like for the price of that, you might as well go with the what is it, the Senko or whatever the other one is. Seiko. You might as well spend the extra money on that one at that point. I think, even though I haven't seen what those are up to now.
Morrison Sportsman's Club. Hey, 76 Highboy weight training now. That's new.
Okay, the Seiko lead hardness tester is $233.
Yeah.
And they have a blemished one that they want $232.90 for.
How much is the Lee when you said, Nick?
I thought I looked, it was like $85-$90.
Oh my God.
I know, that's what I was like.
Yeah.
Okay, my bad. It wasn't that high. $77 on Midway USA. That's still pretty insane for a lead product. A lead die, basically.
I've got one.
That's why I'm not in a hurry to buy one, because with you moving over here near me, if I ever need it, I'll just come to your house.
Yeah, I've got the little stand, the light, and everything.
Oh, he changed his name of his channel because he kept getting strikes. Good call.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, it's that's they got 29,000 pounds of it. That's a little bit of lead. It's probably they have it bagged up in 25-pound bags. It's probably 100 pallets.
Jeez.
Yeah, $80 at Titan for the hardness kit.
It's insane.
Mm-hmm. Both of them are insane. $230 for the Seiko one. Yeah.
That's like even everybody's saying the pencil might be the way to go anymore.
Yeah.
Pencil method, which that's probably what I'll do. Even though I buy most of my lead when for most of my loads, it's just going to be standard line to type or stuff like that. But my specific, like my Martini, my Snyder, a lot of my muzzleloader stuff, that's either 20-1 or pure lead. I don't even need to really test that because I'm buying a special lead hardness that I'm going to be using for that 20-1 or pure. So I really don't even really need to mess with it for those. But
so you just need basic plumber's lead for that stuff.
Yeah,
right?
As long as it's soft enough just to be able to grab the lands and grooves and prevent the fouling. So that's what those ones are for.
It's like when I make beignets, that's just
Pure lead,
pure lead.
Regular. Yep.
Seven Brunel.
But yeah, you start getting in the linotype and having to add antimony and tin and get it blended right. Then it gets to be a little tough to do. Yep. Has anybody tried to add antimony to standard lead to make it harder? It's a bit of a chore.
If I did my math right, 29,000 pounds would be 8,826,086 230 grain ball bullets.
Dad, stop.
A lot of bullets.
I don't think all of us on the panel could go through that.
No, we'd wear 10 guns out of piece trying to do that.
Not powder coated, they wouldn't.
So they have 55-gallon barrels of that lead. Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
that takes forklift to load that up.
Yeah.
I wonder what that weighs per gallon per drum.
Well, lead weighs 800 pounds per cubic foot. Lead weighs over 800 pounds per cubic foot.
So
it's 14.5 tons. That's a shitload of.
You're better off. You're better off trying to find somebody who's scrapping out forklift ballast or
sailboat
ballast. Because that reclaimed shot is worth more as reclaimed shot than it is selling it to somebody for melting down. Because shot's getting harder and harder to
find. Yes.
That's one thing I haven't found out here yet is a good either like reclaimed lead place to go get like reclaimed lead, or I haven't found. I need to put up a flyer at the gun club. See if anybody knows anything.
One of those barrels weighs 5,400 pounds.
Hey, Nick, try your local scrapyard.
Scrapyard, yeah, I can. I'll definitely check that out.
A lot of times, though, they have to recycle it to their own customers. but just be advised.
Here's our first question of the night. Ed wants to know, he just bought a French Moss bolt action. Anyone have a good bullet powder combo?
Pretty much a 308 load, ain't it, Nick? I think,
Yeah. It's pretty much
yeah,
a 308 bullet load.
just a tick smaller than 308.
Literally, it's the predecessor to 308. No joke. French Mosses. It's probably one of the easiest surplus cartridges to load right now. Yeah, Tommy Boy just nailed it. Really, yeah, 150 grain IMR or H4095 powder work great.
Yep.
Where the hell did I put my?
If I'm not mistaken, I think the only really difference, of course, case is slightly different, but the bullet, wasn't the bullet supposed to be a 307 diameter?
Technically, yes, the bullet was a 307, but a thou ain't gonna matter.
Thou ain't gonna hurt nothing.
No.
Well, especially considering it's military, so I highly doubt that the
and the Moss weren't precision guns, so their chambers and bores are always a little off. So they're great guns. I love mine. I know my dad loves his. They shoot great. It opens up a whole nother alley down to go to on those because they made all the semi-auto versions and all that.
Okay. This is a good one. 41 Rem Mag. Anybody remember that one?
Yep.
Sure.
It was the funny thing about that, it was actually the first handgun used in the Dirty Harry movies.
Yeah. And the lead bullet that you want is a 210 cast Keith style bullet.
Semi-wad cutter?
And semi-wad cutter, yes.
Good old Elmer bullet. Elmer Keith.
Yep.
Designer of the perfect semi-wad cutter.
Yep. And the 210 is the grain weight you want to load for that. And I know it's going to be hard to find, but 2400 was our go-to powder for that one.
WW296 would be a good too.
Or H110. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
So they
That's
don't even
powder.
list 2400 as an option on Hodgson anymore.
Okay. Is that because it's an Alliant powder?
Probably.
Yeah.
I was thinking it was an accurate powder for some reason.
No, it's an Alliant powder, but that's why I said it might be hard to get. Just like,
Oh yeah, it's gotta be.
Yeah.
You can't find Alliant powders anywhere.
mm-hmm.
I've been replacing 2400. What was that? Gosh dang it. Was it 20 or 4227? I've been using that as far as a cast bullet powder replacing.
4227 is
Yeah.
another
Yep.
one. It's a stick powder.
Yep,
Yep.
H4227.
Yeah, I've been using that. I have that. I have 5744 and 2400 are all my cast bullet powders because they're all basically right around that same.
Well, you could use Tight Group.
Tight Group's another one that's close. They every say in the modern Trail Boss.
Universal is listed on there.
Unique, and I mean the list goes on, but Unique was always a good one for 41 Magnum for a mid-range load. Dirty as hell, but it worked. 4227. Trying to remember. There's one other one. Slips my mind right now.
Full size.
But 2400 was the one that I loaded the most 41 mags for.
Tommy Boy said accurate number 9 is a perfect replacement for 2400.
Good to know.
Yeah, accurate number 9's on there.
So this is all just Hodgson powders: 296, 4100, 5744, 700X. Auto Comp, CFE pistol, Enforcer, H110, of course, because 296 is on there. H4227, HP 38, HS6, Lil Gun, Long Shot, number 11 FS, number 5, number 7, number 9, SR 7625, TCM, Tight Group, True Blue, and Universal.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, 110 and 296 and 4227 are all right next to each other. They are consecutive 62, 63, and 64 on the burn rate chart.
Mm-hmm.
So
I do know that everything in the 2400 range, it requires a very good tight crimp to get a complete burn. You want a very tight crimp on that to otherwise it gets a little messy.
That's an understatement.
Well, but it was always the go-to powder. You know that for 41 mag. I mean, but you were a big Unique fan, so
I've used my share of 2400 and 44 mag.
How about
and 357?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Remember, I'm the idiot that told the story about loading up with 2400 until I couldn't play more in the case and stuff a bullet down into that. My Thompson center extender.
Mm-hmm.
And when I touched a few rounds off, it felt like 44 Magnum.
Just because you sat there with your bowl of 2400 and your empty cases and prime, and just went into the bowl and filled it up, tapped it a little bit, and put it in.
Stop telling my story. Stop telling my stories, Paul. Behave now. You're right, but that's exactly what I did. I just dipped it right in the bowl of powder and made about a dozen and a half rounds and made some noise.
Mm-hmm.
One shot at a time.
Yep.
Yeah, it looks like Ed.
I did not. Good.
Looks like I was reading the comments. Looks like his Moss is shooting high. He's gonna have to raise his front sight, lengthen his front sight to make it go lower. So, but I know those were all adjusted by the armor.
Front sight didn't get adjusted. That was just how it came. It was
no. He would have to lengthen his front sight to make it go lower.
Yeah, and I don't know if
about all they could do. That or could make custom loads that are a little weaker. About all they could do.
Then what he's asking dies Lee versus RCBS. Personally, I think spend the extra little bit of money on the RCBS, but that's just me. You're going to get a little bit better quality, lasts quite a bit longer in the long run. Most of us never will run or wear out a set of dies. But I say at that point, I said most of us. I know one person that has.
You won't wear those out.
No.
Not for this.
No. But yeah, I say spend the extra money. Not because I know the president of our CBS, but if you look at all my dies, 99% of them are CBS dies.
Tommy Boy said if you try a VV 110, you won't go back to H110. Same speeds, less temperamental.
Yeah, I want to try some Vitavori stuff. I haven't had a chance to. One of the shop here locally sells a ton of it. So I want to get some different stuff, start metering through the new testing tool I got here a while back.
Yeah.
Want to get the bench unloaded or uncovered with all the guns in front of it here, hopefully in a couple weeks.
Tommy Boy has a suggestion. Glue a toothpick onto the front sight and paint it black to see if the bullet comes down. Then measure the sight to see what you need to go into a metal one.
Let me see, I was just on Liberty Tree. They would have it.
I don't think they have different front length, but I do like the idea of gluing a toothpick, and because you could always solder.
Yeah, you can build it up with solder.
Or you can cut it and silver solder a blade on there. Yeah.
You can get a front sight from Sarco for $8 right now.
A standard though, right?
Yeah, standard front sight, but that gives you something to play around with.
Yeah.
So they're $8.
Cost you
Figure out
more to
what-
ship it.
Yeah, but figure out what you and like do what Tommy Boy says. Figure out what you like, and then get you another one.
Modify it.
Modify it so you can take it out. And all it is a V-notch or a dovetailed in. Drive it out.
Yeah.
Drive the new one in, and you have a good one still. And then you have your modified one. So
Does the Moss have a V-notch front sight?
no, it's that wide, flat blade. It's the Sarco. Sarco.com. They will become your best friend in the mill, sir. Sarco, Liberty Tree Collectors, and Numrich are going to be your 3 best friends when it comes to surplus gun parts. Now let me ask you this, Ed. On your Moss 36, is it a hooded front sight, or are they just ears that fold out to the side? If he answers that one, because that'll tell me if it's a during the war gun or if it's a post-war gun.
Ears.
Wow. During the war,
It's a
wartime gun. Wow. You don't see a ton of those right now. Most of the ones you're seeing are post-war guns.
Unless it's a 3651,
Possibly, yeah.
because they had the
That's true. They did do that. New ears on the 3651s.
Yeah, but buy the extra sight.
yeah.
Take your time, solder on a piece of metal,
Yep.
and then bring a file with you to the range, and
That's what you have to do for an old black powder musket. You got to silver solder them on and do it until you're right on, and then you're perfect. I can't tell how many times my dad and I have seen that guy shooting old black powder muzzle loaders at the range. Like, oh, they're hitting a little low, so they'll pull it down, pull out their little bit of silver solder a little bit more on, and just fire it again until they get it. So, now I hope you like that rifle, Ed. They're fun. It was one of my first surplus rifles, so they're a fun gun to shoot, cheap to shoot. As far as surplus, then if you get into old cartridges like this, where it's going to cost me $2.50 just for the brass.
oh, come on.
Oh, it's a 3651, so even better.
You worry about $2 and some odd cents for a piece of brass, and how many pieces of brass you're buying? 10, 20,
No, I'll buy about 50 to 100.
50
of
to
that.
100. Yeah.
I'm going to try making it first, but what I'm going to run into is if you look, there's the A base is lifted a little bit to allow just something with the bolt face. So I'm going to try taking 4590 and using the O-ring method on the rim to see if that can evade the backside, basically counter out it on the other side. I've seen some people do that, so we'll try that first. And if not, if I got to order brass, I got to order brass. No big deal.
So, it's getting funny because I'm sitting there looking at an average price for a piece of brass nowadays of $1.20 and up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I know, yes, it's high-end brass and everything else, but even Hornady is getting expensive as far as their brass.
Yeah.
And until Remington and Winchester come out with theirs, it's expensive to buy brass. $1 a piece for brass is not unusual.
Well, that's like everybody in the milsurp reloading communities for some of these cartridges. Oh, go buy Bertram brass. Well, I can't anymore. They're not bringing it in the U.S. Bertram is done bringing stuff in the U.S. So that was my option for about 75% of these old guns. So now it comes to having to form the brass.
Right.
So, and I've taken 8 months just doing research before I even buy a piece of brass to even modify. So.
Okay. New one here. What do we got? Oh, this one should be easy, guys. Come on.
Yeah.
Good to go. Right?
Yep.
Yep.
And
Start
you
line's
can,
near the top as
Yep.
far as quality.
and you can buy NATO brass from Starline,
Mm-hmm.
which is 5.56 brass if you're going to be shooting in an AR, which I would recommend.
And there's some of the more affordable brass on the market right now. Like you're still talking price wise, they're probably still some more the affordable. Let's see.
I guess I would want to know what his definition of good to go is.
True.
Well,
for what it's worth, that's in 308 and in 223. That's all I've ever shot is GI brass.
mm-hmm.
I've never once bought a round of factory ammo for either caliber. As far as my guns are concerned.
I just bought 250 pieces of Winchester 5.56 brass. That is pretty nice. I mean, especially now, it's $64 for 250 pieces.
Yep.
And it's
For that price, it better damn well be. For that price, it better be damn well nice.
well, it is nice. 200, for $64 for brand new Lake City brass. It is Lake City brass. It's not.
How much per 100, Paul?
250 pieces for $65 at Midway.
That's actually the way to go because right now from Grass for 100 pieces of Starline's $32.
Right.
So yeah, that's
so
NATO brass is NATO brass. That's the way I look at it. Especially if you anneal. Like he was talking about neck split issues, anneal it, you're not going to have that issue.
Yeah.
And you'll prolong the life of that brass by about 3 times.
You won't have neck splits. I don't believe you'll have neck splits if you do anneal.
Yeah, it looked like Tommy Boy had an issue with body splits.
Well,
yeah, and like you said, they replaced it. They're good for that. Starline is super good for that.
I use a lot of Starline pistol brass. I'm sorry. But, I mean, that's what they're really famous for. And I shot a whole lot of 38 Super in Starline brass. And I think because that was really the only place where I could buy it. And it was cheap enough to shoot a lot. So, but they have a lot of calibers they manufacture brass for. So, they're good to go. And if you ever get a chance. Yes, sir.
Tell me more about the performance of the 38 Super. Is it like a 38 Special on steroids or something?
It is like depending upon the gun, I'm going to say this because they have supported chambers and unsupported chambers in 38 Super. And most Colts standard off the shelf are unsupported. So you're looking at a 130 grain bullet at somewhere about 1,300 to 1,350. Okay.
Moving right along.
And if I move up to a supported chamber, and then I'm looking somewhere in the 1,500 to, I can get it as high as 1,600 feet per second.
Probably a permanent mark.
It has to be a well-fitted gun with that barrel and with a supported ramp. And the pressures are the cartridge standard pressures in the cartridge are 32,000 psi. With that load, you're pushing 42, 43,000 with the high end.
What's the bowl diameter?
356.
Thank you, sir.
And if you history-wise, if you're interested in the 38 Super, I believe that was the one that got Dylan.
Mhm.
A lot of the FBI and special agents in those days in the 30s used 38 Super because it penetrated the bulletproof vests at the time.
Jumping back up to Ed's question about his friend selling a Swiss Vetterli, I think that's high. I paid about half that for mine. And the thing you have to worry about with those is those were rim fire. So unless he had it converted to center fire, you will not be able to fire it without having to convert it. And I'll say it's not super difficult, but it takes a little bit of time because you have to. It's not a perfectly circle bolt face. It's like polygonal bolt face. You kind of have to really take your time and center that up, drill it out, create a firing pin. They have a company that makes a 3D printed carrier for that firing pin, but it's not the easiest thing in the world, but it's not the hardest thing. So it can be done. It's easy to make the round. It's 8mm, cut it down, and then size it.
8mm LaBelle.
8mm LaBelle, correct, my bad. But yeah, no, it's not the hardest thing in the world, but not most easiest thing. Like Moss ammo is to load. So cool guns because it's from a gun from mine's 1870 is the date on mine, and it holds 14 rounds of ammo, which is crazy. And it's a Winchester lifting action. Think about it. The Swiss using a 14-shot tubular fed gun in 1870. We're using a single-shot trapdoor Springfield. Look at the difference. So,
What year was that again?
1870.
That's before the 73.
Correct.
Okay, the Winchester Model 73.
Yeah. So, but it's an interesting action. If you ever just get a chance to look up a Swiss Vetterli, if anybody wants to see a cool mechanism, it's very similar to a Winchester lifting block action, or even the old Henry actions. So the tube feds in the side, but then there's a carrier that's got a notch in the bottom that lifts that round up and then feeds it into the chamber from the bolt. It's super ingenious for 1870s technology.
Ooh, okay.
Very cool. They're very cool guns.
What's that one company, Nick, that made the thing for the Valmont something?
Well, he's not in business anymore. Valmont
they're not?
Firearms. He's done. He's been done for 2 years now, I think.
Oh, wow.
Let's put Swiss Vetterli firing pin carrier. If I look up conversion kit, I'll find it too. Swiss Products. That's who we ordered it from.
Okay.
They're based out of Montana, so it's a US-based company. It's a little 3D printed. I would almost looks like a large kind of tooth, almost. And then all you take is a RCBS decapping pin that you would put in the decapping stem. You file a little bit on that, take down that 45-degree shoulder, you make it a little more of a 90-degree. Drill your little hole in your little carrier. Drill out your center of your bolt face. Your center fire. Nice thing about it, if you ever go to want to resell it, you can pull that set mechanism out, put the rimfire conversion back in it, and you're back to original. I say it actually doesn't even hurt the value of the gun, personally. I think you're actually taking a gun otherwise you couldn't shoot.
Yeah, you can't get the rimfire ammo, so.
Correct. And if you can, I have a friend here in Kansas City that found some. You might get 1 out of every 6 or 7 to go off. So, but
Reliable ammo.
exactly. They haven't made it rimfire production in over 75, 80 years, if not longer. So take the time, do a little bit of work, and you can shoot it all day. And it's a fun, relaxing, enjoyable cartridge to shoot. I think I have a video on my channel of me shooting it.
Yeah.
I think.
And there's videos out there on how to do that conversion.
Yep.
At least there was.
Yeah.
Nice.
Ed, if you get on the Discord, I'm on there. And if you ever got any questions, you can shoot me if you want to join it. It's a good community to get on. So I'm on there. I'm not on the reloading one as much, being I'm an admin at like 4 or 5 other ones. So I had to kind of overview those ones. So, but
yeah, we let them on the on the reloading, podcast every once in a while.
Yeah, I don't just, it's down at the bottom of the list, so I try not to go through all of them. The only time I really get on there is if there's a notification on it, like it was earlier that Mike posted.
Yep.
So, Tommy Boy, yes, South American countries don't like people to have military cartridges.
Mm-hmm.
Mexico's one of those.
Yep.
When I was there were an awful lot of Uzis running around though. So, any other questions, guys?
Well, we can cover. So one that Paul found on Reloading Room.
Thank you, Jim.
I did some shooting last week and was disappointed on the average muzzle velocity I measured. I used Hodgdon benchmark powder on a 150 grain bullet for my 308 Winchester. Reloading data from the website said max load is 43 grain with an estimated velocity of 2752 feet per second. And the minimum charge of 39 grains with an estimated velocity of 2521 for this bullet weight and caliber. For the reloading aspect, I annealed my brass, full-length sized, and bumped my shoulder 2000s, trimmed the brass to 2.005, seated the bullet 0.020 away from the jam. I decided to come down 2 grains from max, but got an average of 2010 feet per second. I shot 50 rounds. Does anyone know what might have happened? Only thing I could think of is that I didn't take into account the COL that the manual says. Hornady manual says maximum 2.7. Hodgdon states 2.8. That's the only measure I didn't take into account since my seating depth was determined by the 0.020 from JAM. Hope to get some guidance and makeup for the next batch. Paul, what'd you find?
Well, I ran this through Gordon's reloading tool, and in order to get down to the 2,000 feet per second range, okay, 2,100, I had to get down to 34 grains, really 32 grains of powder, okay, which is about 8 grains of powder less than the starting charge. So I am thinking that his scale is off on the on his powder, because benchmark should be a good powder for a short barrel. Fast burn rate has should give a good velocity versus some of the stuff that's slower. There are a lot of people are telling them Varget and use this and that, and I'm sitting there going, if you got a fast powder and you're only getting 2,000 feet per second, and he's using a Garmin radar, so it's not he's not having problems with sunscreens or anything like that. I am really thinking he's got a problem with his scale. Anybody else got something to add?
No, I agree. I thought that'd be the only two things I'd be either the charge weight is wrong or you got a crony problem, but you're right. If he's using the most modern crony there is, I don't think that's an issue.
You said the barrel was different length, but you're only talking 50 feet per second per inch.
And
So
22 is the book, and he's got a 20-inch barrel.
So that's 200. So that's 100 feet per second.
100 feet per second. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're supposed to be at 2,500, you should be at 2,400 at least. And if I'm trying to get down to, under 2,100 feet per second, boy, that's telling me that's getting into the dangerous range of powder charge.
I concur with that because Paul's talking about getting into what they call underloads, which can not just burn, it'll detonate.
And
like putting C4 in your chamber.
I asked him a question on what the recoil felt like, and he says it was not much recoil. And he had tried some factory loads afterwards, and he says there was a lot more recoil to it. So,
yeah. Sounds like he's playing with underloads unintentionally.
Or bad powder.
There's that too, Mike.
That could be, an old powder or something.
Because I had that, and not necessarily. Let me rephrase that. Not bad powder necessarily, but old powder. Because I did have that one. I don't know if you guys remember, but I actually did load up some 30-30 with. I loaded up 20 rounds of 30-30 using a pound of the actual DuPont 30-31, and it was slower than book speed.
A lot slower?
Couple hundred. I don't remember exactly. But yeah, it was considerably.
Okay.
Like I think it was supposed to be 14 or 15, and it was like 10, 11 or 12. I think. I don't remember off the top of my head. So it was a day that Ken and I were out playing around together.
Okay.
So.
Well,
but
that's an interesting one. I didn't think about powder. I thought, he's a new reloader, bought new powder, benchmark. He did mention that in the post. So, he is using a Frankfurt Arsenal IntelliDropper for the scale. I also told him I tell this to every new reloader to buy yourself a set of Lyman or RCBS check weights.
Mm-hmm.
So before you start loading a load, loading your actual cases, to put the check weights on that the load that you want. Okay, if you're loading 42 grains of powder, put 42 grains in the pan and check it. I don't care what kind of scale or balance beam you have or whatever, there can be problems. And
what I did before I even had a set of check weights when I first started reloading, if I was loading 55 grain bullet and I wanted to check my scale, I just used a bullet just to see how close I was.
Yeah.
If it was that'd tell him right there if he's got a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because theoretically, if it's a 55 grain bullet, it should be anywhere from 49.8 to or not 49, but it should be anywhere from 54.8 to 55.2.
Yeah.
Otherwise, technically, they shouldn't be selling it as a 55.
And that much difference
Unless it's
weight in
factory
powder
spec.
shouldn't give you that low of velocity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, if it's off that little amount, no. But if it's off, what did he say he was throwing for grain weight?
I'm thinking he said 43 was max. He was coming down 2 grains, so he's at 41.
So 41. But if he's throwing, he got lucky. If he was throwing a lighter charge, he's kind of lucky he didn't get pre-detonation.
That's what Jim and I were saying, that he was down in the below the 70% pile of case fill.
Sorry, I think I was looking at something else when
Yeah.
you guys were talking about that, so I zoned out.
When you get into 70% or less case fill, yes, you got a chance of detonation. And
With powder contamination, like when he cleaned his cases, if he had lube or moisture in there, would that cause that?
It could.
He said that he fired about 100 shots out of the gun.
100, wow.
Yeah.
All the same.
So all the same. So that kind of led me to say that the scale was off.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, like I say, check weights. Buy them, guys. They're what's a set of check weights, Nick? 50, 80 bucks. I mean, because they're precision guys. Okay, they're not.
You're muted, Nick.
Yeah, I think I can get them like 45, 50 bucks locally. Let me look real quick.
There you go. Okay.
Right now on Midway USA, they have the RCDS standard scale check weights, $44.95. The deluxe set RCDS are $70. Powder Valley's got the Lyman ones for $44.
There you go. You're what you're spending is barely a pound of powder. Okay.
Yeah.
It's barely a pound of powder. And then you'll know. I mean, you're gonna know you're loading what you're supposed to load. We don't want you to be like Johnny's reloading bench and blow your face off.
What? When did I miss that?
I don't think Johnny did that, did he?
No, he didn't, but he'd always used to say it.
Oh, yeah.
Because
he was gone for like 2 years.
Right.
Then he came back for a little bit, and now he's gone again.
Yeah. But he always used to say, let's see if we don't blow our face off here.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'd like, we see too many guns that have detonated, exploded, had catastrophic failure.
Yeah.
And people get hurt.
I tell you, even after I've done my initial setup and checked everything, I still check 10% of all my loads. Every 10th round I check.
Mm-hmm. And I'm with my scales. I am the same way. I mean, I'm going to sit down, even though I have scales that read the 200ths of a grain. I'm still going to take and put a 20 grain or so weight on there every so often to see if I'm still calibrated.
Yep.
With your electronic scales. And I'll do that with my beam scales too. So, Used to be with electronic scales, we'd have to recalibrate every 20 or 30 rounds till we learned, how sensitive they are, and keep electronics and other things away from them. When you had two scales side by side, Mike, and you were and we had problem with one of them.
That was the Lyman number 6 and the IntelliDropper.
Okay. So, I mean, this is, electrical interference.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah, they did not like being next to each other.
You could have another electronic scale close by and interfere with your with your dropper. I mean, it just Bluetooth can affect some of them. Wi-Fi.
The lights above your bench can affect with it too.
Yeah, fluorescent light,
Yep.
even LED light.
Yeah.
I know we can't get incandescent light bulbs anymore, but yeah, stay away from old fluorescent light bulbs, fixtures. Some of the LED lights will tell you that they are they're safe to use around electronics. Learn to ground your scales, ground mat or something underneath them that goes to an actual ground. Keep the scales away from vibrations and stuff like that. Air currents, air conditioning is blowing on them, fans, heat ducts, that kind of stuff. And I don't care what kind of scale you're using, any kind of scale, you got to keep that stuff away from it.
That's the only thing I'll have a complaint on my current Frankfurt Arsenal IntelliDropper is that it's a little finicky, even if you're just like from me to my computer monitor away, which is probably 2.5 feet. Even just picking up the pan there, you'll still get dramatic movements. Just bring your hand towards it. I wouldn't expect it to be that sensitive for that budget cost of a scale.
Just ground it.
I'm gonna have to. Well, I'm not gonna be using that one anymore. So
okay.
I have a new one that came in. So I'll be testing that first, and then if I'm still getting the same issues, I'll definitely ground it then for sure.
Ground it. Get yourself. You go to Amazon. They have a grounding mat.
Yep.
Get that. There you go.
So yeah, because once the stuff's out in front, away from the front of the reloading bench, I'm back down in there, and I got some loads I got to get worked up for this summer. But definitely gonna test out the new tool that we had come in a couple weeks ago, or not more than a couple of months ago actually now. So
Tommy Boy says that the biggest problem with electronic scales is dirty power. How true. I mean, that's but a lot of scales have the ability to use batteries. So your scale could go that way. If not, you could, other power sources. What are the what do they call them? Those battery operated, what are they? Jackman.
the Jackery.
Yeah, Jackery. Yeah.
Yeah, what are those? I can't remember the name of them.
But you have these lithium-ion batteries that deliver clean power. You can plug your power. You can plug it in to keep it charged, but use the inverter that's built into it to give you clean power. And It's also good for your computers and all that kind of stuff, guys, because you'd be surprised how bad power system is getting nowadays.
Yeah, Tommy Boy said all electric scales actually run off DC. Look at the plug and it'll tell you the voltage needed.
Yeah.
So, because all that thing in the wall is it's a converter.
Yeah. Wall wart. Yeah. All it is a transformer.
Mm-hmm. Amazon's got some interesting grounding mats.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it are just anti-static, though.
But they do have grounding mats, and the ones with grounding mats are the ones that have a lead that goes to something where you can ground it to.
Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, some of them come with leads, but I guess the question is, how is that supposed to work? I mean, where would you hook it on the scale? Just anywhere?
Yeah, all you got to do is just, there. Usually, you go to the negative part of the input. You do have to take the scale apart, to run a wire from it, or just find a place where you can run a wire into it that screws into the board. That's all.
Okay.
That's why I favor beam scales.
I understand, Jim. I do. And some people have good luck with it, but I want more accuracy than the beam scale gives me. And because I know with my 505 that I have, or excuse me, it's not a 505, it's a 510, that I can be off, a few granules of powder here and there. So
I agree. I've got a 1010.
yeah.
But your
So I guess,
weight
Paul, what
side,
I'll have,
go ahead, Mike.
I was going to say, Paul, is have a look, see what one you think would work, and then send me a link and I'll add it to the show notes.
Sure.
But at the same time, there's got to be something you can do so you don't have to be having all these people taking apart their scales and ruining their scales.
Right. Yeah.
So there's got to be a alternative option to actually, dig it into the scale. Because most people that I know are not competent enough to actually pull a scale apart, pull apart like, say a Frankfurt Arsenal IntelliDropper or Lyman number 6. They're not, they don't have the skill to be able to take that apart and then to figure out where to hook that to on a board. So, but and we lost Ray. So Tommy Boy said, when I worked building radios, I had to have a wrist cuff tied to me and then grounded the table with an earth ground.
Mm-hmm.
So now some of the ones I was just looking at on Amazon do have like the wrist cuff things. So, but Nick, I did add all 3 of those places you mentioned for Ed earlier in the show notes. So. But yeah, I know about grounding myself working on electronics, because when we had electronics, when we were building transistor radios back in high school, you had to do that.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm just remembering, what you guys say transistor radios, and I'm sitting there going, well, We were building crystal radios.
Yep. Oh, I had crystal radios for my RC stuff. So
Mhm.
I'll tell you what, though, having digital for RC, oh my goodness, that's a life. That's an absolute life changer. So. But you could probably run it through a UPC too.
Yeah, you could run it through a UPC.
Universal uninterruptible power supply.
Yeah, but the more important thing that they do is they're a power conditioner.
Right.
Yeah, they supply power when the power goes out, but the biggest thing that they do is they condition the power while you have power. So
Yep. I've had one tied to my computer since maybe since
Since
I
they
went to
invented,
Saudi Arabia 25 years ago.
the funny thing is, I've never had one at home. Always had one at
Yeah,
work.
we always use the power strip.
Yeah, I buy good quality power strips, but that's about it. So,
Yeah.
but they don't really do any conditioning.
No.
Nope.
You know. And
Interesting tidbit. You can buy APC, UPS, APC, Alpha Bravo Charlie, Alpha Papa Charlie, American Power Supply for about $55 in Walmart.
Yeah.
And they're good for a few years
Right.
before they go out.
Batteries
because
go out.
they got a sealed lead acid battery in them.
Mm-hmm.
But
All right. Any last questions from the peanut gallery? Otherwise, we're gonna wrap this puppy up. So I don't really see anything. So yeah, I put the link in the show notes for the grounding mat that Paul recommended.
Yep.
One thing I did want to talk about, since we were talking about Dan and all of his wonderful fun stuff out at Inline, I just got an email yesterday or today when we were talking about spots to store all of your quick change plates. Dan has outdid himself. I'll share this real quick here. So he created the inline production post. So you've got your standard mount up top, and then you've got the sides there. So as you can see here, he's got one of the fancy brand new Area 419 presses on setup, and then he's got one of his plates with the extra bin boxes. He's got a whole bunch of other stuff hanging off here. Here's another one with a Dylan on it, and he's got a Swager on a quick change, and you can get different colors. It's coming off the back too. Here's another picture on the side of kind of what you got. So you got powder in the back and CLP. So
he's got a portable reloading bench that you have that you can bolt right down to the concrete and and store all your items on there. That's nice. That is really nice.
I missed Moishe's question. So, has anyone started playing with the new CDM ballistic truing and AB quantum?
No, not yet. If you're shooting out to, a mile and past, yeah,
That'd be a
go
question
ahead.
for some of the guys in the Discord, because
Yes.
there's a few people that are shooting long distance there. So, Moishe, if you're not part of the Discord, send me an email, reloadingpodcast@gmail.com. Get that link. So, a lot of good in there. So, Woodman
Yeah.
said the Brewer bats finally woke up tonight. Yeah, they've been kind of dormant for the last few days.
Yeah.
We'll
If
take
you look
our
in the
weekend
background,
series win.
Oh, well, they're playing the White Sox. That doesn't count.
It doesn't count at all. That never counts. It never will count.
At one point in time, it did. Yeah, they
I
did
don't see
not
the
play
White
well
Sox
against. They did
lasting much
not
longer in
play
Ca-
well
or
against the
Chicago.
Cardinals.
We won a series. It's a miracle.
Yeah, and it was against us. Damn it, that sucked. Arenado was playing some pretty good defense, so I'll give him that.
Yeah.
He was playing some pretty good defense. He normally doesn't. Lately,
Yeah.
his defense has gone down a little bit. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to show that.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, we forgot to answer. I saw his question pop up, and I was going to figure out what he was talking about because I had no clue before I asked it, but I didn't get a chance to. So, but yeah, Moishi said he's seeing differences even inside of 500 yards. But like I said, send me an email and get the Discord link if you don't have it, and hop over to Discord.
I'm 500 yards, and I shoot a lot of prairie dogs. I don't see much of an issue with it, but it depends upon how good your information is. And remember, for every 5 feet of velocity your chronograph is off, it will put you, way off on your ballistic calculations. So. But there's a lot of that stuff is you'll find that you have to talk with AB as far as that what they're going into and how they're going into it, because they've been having seminars on YouTube a lot on their new software.
There you go. So, yeah, definitely. And then once you join our Discord, then you can also get a hold of Bench Addict and join his Discord, which has got a lot of long distance shooters on there. So
Precision shooters, yes. Yep.
So yeah, a lot of good places for information there between those two. So, all right, gang. Well, that kind of wraps it up for tonight. Email is reloadingpodcast@gmail.com. You can send us a text or leave us a voicemail at 608-467-0308. He said he's using a Garmin Chrono. Okay. So I'd like to find out if anybody's using Caldwell's new one, the Velociradar, and get any extra real world reports on that versus the shills. So, but that'd be interesting to hear. Anyway, so Jim, you don't have your hat on. What the hell?
Somebody move my hat.
Dang women.
Yep.
So the reason I'm giving Jim crap is because usually Jim has a hat with the patch of the month on it.
Right.
So
Easter Bunny with the NVG this month.
yep. And so when you're a patch of the month club member, you get excuse me, actual morale patch and a vinyl sticker. And then you also get the original drawing. So make your swing over to Patriot Patch Company and check that out. Key Reiki. So that's patriotpatch.co. Ready. We don't need to be looking at me that close. So Tommy Boy said Ultimate Reloader uses the Caldwell. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of want to hear more than just Gavin's impression. I want to hear some other people's too. I haven't seen anything from Gavin that shows he's a shill at all. So I mean, I have no reason to not believe him, and he said he's had good luck with it and everything. But I also want to hear more than just one person's. So I'm not saying Gavin's a shill. Please don't think that. I don't want to hear any nasty stuff. Gavin's an awesome guy, really good guy, and he works hard to get where he's at, and you know, he is honest on his reviews. So, but also companies are known to send their better tested products to the reviewers and then send out everything else to everybody else. So that's kind of what I hear from more normal people. They're doing it. So that way you kind of get a cross section, not just from reviewers. So, but yeah, if you guys got, check out Gavin. He does some great stuff. He's got some good information, and like everybody, like us, he's got some good stuff. He's got some bad stuff, but he works really hard at what he does. He busted his ass to make it his career. So make sure you check it out. So I've got, if you're watching the video, I've got our website scrolling across the bottom of the screen. It's firearmsradio.net categories. That's not right. What the hell? How did www not get in there? Or is there no www? I don't know. Weird. Let's find out.
Tommy Boy, I am too, waiting on the Athlon to come out.
Yep. I guess there is no www.
No,
What the hell?
We stopped using wwws.
Well, I don't know. I should have known. Sean's website. So anyway, so it's firearmsradio.net/category/podcast/reloading-2 is our website. You can check back issues and stuff like that. More importantly, you can support the show, and if you like the awesome tumbler that I'm drinking out of, or the awesome shirt that Paula's wearing, you can get that stuff there. So
support the show, guys. Buy some.
Yeah. You can, that is to get there at Southern Gals Crafts, you click on the buy our merch button. Otherwise, if you want to support us other ways, you can go to support the show on our homepage. It'll take you to Patreon, or if you don't want to use Patreon, you can send me an email and we will figure out another way to do that. So greatly appreciate all the support we do get. Right now I'm scrambling and figuring out how I'm getting to GunCon. So we'll see what happens there. So anyway, I'm hoping I win the lottery between now and then, make life easier, but I don't see that happening. So, but we greatly appreciate everybody. Chris did get a bunch of episodes edited, so I'm working on I got to get those posted. Sean was doing some maintenance on the site, so he didn't want me dumping a whole bunch at one time. So I'm going to post at least 2 tonight before I go to bed, and we'll go from there. So one of these days, hopefully we can maybe get some extra support so we can afford an editor, and then I can just immediately after the show's done get the thing to the editor can edit it, and then we can get it posted without extra dinking around, and then Chris's life getting in the way and my life getting in the way and all that. So that's the hope, but that's that. Anyway, anybody got any shout outs?
Chico Wise. Good
Absolutely
man. Good man.
Yep. A lot of good content out there from Chico. So
Yeah. I want to thank the listeners tonight for all their questions.
yeah, thank you very much. Tommy Boy said he's waiting for the athlon. It's supposed to be out end of this. They were shooting for the end of this month. I haven't seen it launch yet, but I've seen it listed on a couple sites. So
Some have gone out.
yeah, but it's under $300, so it's a heck of a deal.
Yeah.
So
25 need more.
nope, don't say it. Do not speak those words. So anybody who wants to know what that's about, you can watch the video and you can see Okist's comment. Videos on Rumble. It's also on YouTube, but Rumble's the better place to find it. And you can see what he asked about the no mention of, and there's a reason I didn't mention it. The only benefit of that is none. Anyway, on that note, keep your brass shiny.
Jump on the Millsap short bus.
Teach them to shoot and reload when they're young.
Grandpa told me, don't listen to your mama. Violence does solve problems.
I always say support the Second Amendment. It's the most important right we have. Join your local gun club. Support a big gun organization. GOA, I'm a member of 2 of them. Gunners of America and, of course, the NRA.
Don't forget the Second Amendment Foundation. There's
Quite
a few others over there. You know, I'm a life member of Second Amendment Foundation. Good news out of the NRA annual meetings. There was more dead weight / Wayne's cronies kicked out of the board.
Good.
More good quality people that want to fix the NRA voted onto the board. So slowly but surely we're making progress. Still not to the point where I'm going to give them money, but it's getting closer. So most importantly though, gang, mental health is important. We're getting close to May, and May, I believe, is Mental Health Awareness Month. So If you're struggling, there's lots of resources out there. Walk the Talk is a good one, just to kind of get you some guidance and stuff. If you're really struggling, 988 or 1-800-273-8255. More on the line of a crisis type thing. So there's lots of help out there, and there's lots of help out there that will help you to keep, not only to get you better, but to be able to keep your firearms and keep your Second Amendment rights and the rest. So don't think that just because you start to have some issues, it means no more firearms, because it's not true. So reach out, get the help you need, because we want you here and we need you here. Definitely need you here. So thanks, folks, and good night.
Good night.
Good night.